And President Muhammadu Buhari has reassured Nigerians that ensuring peace and prosperity remains a priority in his second tenure. And the rift between the Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello and his deputy Simon Achuba escalates as the deputy alleges that his boss is after his life, but the governor says it is not true. He claims he doesn't train assassins. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. The proceeding begins right here on the program because we get started right away because some of the issues we shall be discussing is of national importance. So get a seat everyone and let's get cracking, shall we? So it's a few months before the Kogi State governorship election and the infighting in the ruling APC has escalated back. The deputy governor, Mr. Simon Achuba, says that his principal, the governor, Yahaya Bello, is after his life. At a press conference in the local Jade State capital earlier today, the deputy governor says the rift between him and the governor is about his concerns that the administration has not performed to expectation of the people of Kogi State. Salaries, according to him, are not being paid to civil servants, even with the bailout. He said, why trying to advise his principal to do the needful? That's the reason why the rift started in the first place. The deputy governor, Mr. Achuba, is alleged threat to his life. He alleged that the gunmen of the governor are allegedly after his life while calling on the president and the inspector general of police to note in case anything happens to him. But the governor has reacted to the allegations through a statement by his chief press secretary. The government described the report as bogus, an exhibition of a blind rage and angry suckling with a long-term pattern of abnormal behavior characterized by exaggerated feelings of self-importance. The statement went further, and I quote, the Kogi State government is appalled that a deputy governor who should epitomize leadership and good example in all senses could descend so low to employ smear campaign against the person of His Excellency Governor Yahaya Bello. We state without equivocation that Mr. Achuba has no shred of evidence for his reckless surmising, which is nothing but a scripted venture in ruinous adventure. We do not train assassins, and as such, the state government or our personnel cannot be involved in sending assassins to murder any human soul, let alone a deputy governor of our dear state. End of quote. Despite these unsubstantiated ramblings, the state government says that it deemed it fit to clear the air by letting the general public know that the state government would not be dragged into any form of political gerrymandering concocted for the furtherance of any person's political interest or notoriety. End of quote. That's according to the state government. The deputy governor has also said that he has not been paid his salaries and wages for several months because of the rift between himself and the governor. Well, let's take a breather on, and check out some other political stories we have for you on our political roundup.
The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is gradually coasting to a close as the tribunal fixes August 21st as the date for parties to adopt their final written addresses. The tribunal chairman, Justice Muhammad Garba, announced that the decision is to allow all parties have time to file their final written addresses. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress opted out to open a defense in the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party, while President Muhammadu Buhari decided to close his case. The Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, is assuring women in the state of better representation in the proposed State Executive Council to give them a sense of belonging in the scheme of things. This assurance was made by the governor's deputy, Mrs. Noymoto Yedele, who also promised that the proposed cabinet will consist of reputable, competent individuals to ensure quality representation and effective service delivery.
I can assure you that His Excellency is very committed to having women, and not just token women, but women in impactful positions.
The National Youth Council of Nigeria is asking President Muhammadu Buhari to consider appointing the youth as heads of agencies and parastatals in his administration. The president of the council, Comrade Mustafa Abdullahi, expressed concern over the exclusion of youths in the ministerial list. Nevertheless, he is urging the ministers to dispense their duties judiciously to build a convenient society for the young generation.
Nigeria, we want young people in governance.
The former senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District, Senator Shehu Sani, is calling on the federal government to review the ECOWAS protocol that allows free movement of member states in order to effectively curb terrorism and armed banditry. According to him, there's an urgent need on the part of the federal government to strengthen international relationships and review the ECOWAS protocol in order to effectively manage the existing security challenges.
We must renegotiate the ECOWAS protocol on the issue of migration, specifically as it affects our own security challenges as a country.
A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Kogi State, Haja Rukayat Ibrahim, has joined the governorship race as she picks the party's nomination and expression of interest forms. Addressing journalists after picking the form at the party's national secretariat, Haja Ibrahim explains that she represents the voice of women in the governorship race. Haja Ibrahim also says that her focus will be on agriculture and infrastructure development.
It's from here that we kick off our conversation around national security today. President Buhari has reassured again that to Nigerians that peace and prosperity remains a priority in his second tenure. He told a delegation from the International Labour Organization, led by its Director General, Mr. Guy Ryder, that in spite of the huge population of youths in the country, the federal government will focus on job creation to advance development, as a nation cannot rely on food importation alone. As the International Labour Organization marks its 100 years of existence, the president urged the organization to support the country through technical assistance that will improve existing programs. Now, yesterday, the president was also talking about security. He met traditional rulers and was saying that there will be deployment of technology to fight the new style of crime in the country, issues of kidnapping and banditry, especially in some of the forests and bushes around the southwest and down south region of the country. So we'll take a look at the new strategy of government, the issues of community policing, the issues of technology, and how we can get it right as a country. My panel tonight, both of them are security experts, and they have deep understanding of the practice, not only theory. They know policies and they know practice. They are both in our Abuja studio. Undu Nwokolo is a security and conflict expert. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Nwokolo. And also Mr. Vince Onyekwelu. Mr. Vince Onyekwelu is a former British police officer and a security expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program tonight. Let me begin the conversation tonight with a former British police officer who perhaps have come in contact with the use of technology and perhaps the manner in which Nigeria says it wants to deploy technology. They say that, in fact, we've had some kind of deal to purchase some of these equipment, drones and CCTV cameras to some of the forests and bushes where some of these bandits and kidnappers operate. What is your take? And perhaps the first time you heard it, how did it come to you?
I think it's a good idea. I must congratulate Mr. President for such a fantastic idea. I think it's a right step in the right direction for us to bring in technology into fighting crime in Nigeria. So well done, Mr. President. That's the way to go. All I can say that we need to do, that we need to be very, very careful how we deploy. We need to be very careful how we purchase. We need to be very careful how we do field analysis, first of all, to understand what kind of connectivity are we going to use on the highways. For example, if you have to deploy cameras on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway or on Onitsha-Enugu Expressway, We need to do a field analysis first of all to understand the topography, the kind of connectivity. If we're going to use a fiber optic cable, or if we're going to use a microwave connectivity, or if we're going to use a normal cellular system. That's the first thing we should do, because most of the cameras we have to put on the highways there, we have to check if they're going to carry data and power. So you have to do a lot of analysis to make sure, but it's the right thing to do. And then the command and control center, where all this data is sent to, we need to make sure that it's well managed by people that have respect, that have ethics to do the work. But in the long run, fantastic idea, right step in the right direction. The drones are also going to give us a lot of information so we can get intelligence, because most people in the hinterland, nobody knows what happens in the forest. People get raped, people get killed. There's this confusion on who has done it. But with the issue of drones, we can make sure that we have the right information. Be careful. Most drones may not get the kind of quality pictures and video in the day and in the night. So you have to select the right kind of drones that can work in the day and can work in the night, because nighttime capturing is different from daytime capturing. The same thing with our cameras. We're gonna store cameras, make sure we have the diamond cameras that can do night visuals and still give you quality production. So, but it's wise, but the deployment and the implementation, let's get the best to do it for us.
Quickly, before I allow Mr. Nwokolo to come in here, and it's going to, I'm going to ask you, because if you are going to do it, it's better for us to do it right, isn't it, Mr. Nwokolo? The question I'm going to ask is this: in some other climes, what you find is the response timing of agents on the field, patrol agents, that is, when from the command and control center, they detect that there is a crime in a certain place, there are stationed personnel on the field. Do we have those kind of situation in place? Because that gap needs to be bridged. And again, a very big question will be the fact that, do we even have short code numbers for citizens to help in detecting or getting the attention of command and control center of the security architecture in the country to the places where, because it's not only chasing after the criminals, is stopping the criminals from acting. So they may have performed their ordeals, but they were gone before you can act, because you are not in the proximity to chase them. Aren't these very important, Mr. Nwokolo?
It's very, very, very important, sir. Very important. Now, what we have here is about the whole planning. We need to plan the whole architecture very well, so we can have our rapid response team. So we call them the RR team. The rapid response team can be on waiting for anything to be triggered from the command and control center. Remember, we have systems what we call calibration. So I can set up a system. If a cattle comes and touch that particular system, it tells me that the calibration should come from a cattle or from a rat or from a bush rat, not from a human being. And then with the rapid response teams, we can have data sent to people's mobile phone that go to zone D, go to zone F, go to zone A. And somebody that is closest to that zone D will straight go there. So within 10 minutes, you can have a rapid response team get to that particular area where the attention is needed. But that's what I'm talking about, planning. Don't bring people that understand this from purely academic point of view to do it. You know, I run one of this command and control center for the old central bank here in Abuja and the one in Oma here. So you need to get this command and control rapid response integration very well, so you can be able to get things right. So when there's a crime, the camera picks it up to the command and control center, it gets analyzed quickly, and the rapid response team gets there within 10-15 minutes. Anything beyond that, the criminals can finish their job and walk away.
All right. Mr. Nwokolo, I will come to you, and my question to you, Mr. Nwokolo, will be those things that have caused this crime. Mr. Nwokolo, you deal with the issues of prevention of this crime and the issues of conflict resolution. For us to even get to the point of this crime, what do you think is at the heart of the new breed of crime in the land, the banditry issue and the kidnapping? Is it poverty or the issues of economy?
Yeah, interestingly, I like Vinny's argument about the use of technology. But you might be asking, does our problem or does the solution only revolves around technology? But it's good the president is thinking about the technology, but I know that 80% of our security problems are human-driven. They are caused by the human element. You know, how we've been able to not to solve our problem. We leave it to pile up, and then we'll now start running after a situation we would have solved a long time ago. Now, back to your question. The banditry.
Sorry, let me pause
you might be asking.
let me pause you for a moment, Mr. Nwokolo. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, one important factor here is the fact that without adequate security, we cannot talk about politics, economy, governance, and all what have you. So this is very important. What the government is doing, their strategy, is it the right thing, or breaking it all down for you? And as you are the citizen, let's get talking when we come back from this break. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We're talking about the issues of security. What the Constitution says that security is perhaps the highest calling of any government. So the president says he's more committed to doing security this time around, especially in his second term. He still has it as priority. And yesterday he did say there's going to be deployment of technology to fight crime, especially in the bushes and forests where bandits and kidnappers are killing Nigerians. So there are other issues on the ground where there are reports of secret burial of Nigerian soldiers in the northeastern region of the country. The Nigerian army has come out to say that is not true. So we're dissecting these issues as it concerns you as an average Nigerian, wherever you may be watching. My partner tonight on the program, Mr. Ndu Nwokolo, a security and conflict expert, Mr. Vince Onyekwolu, a former British police officer and a security consultant. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on. Sorry, apologies, Mr. Nwokolo, for breaking in your thought there. You were talking about the question I asked. You were answering the question on the causes of some of these banditry and kidnapping that we've seen, because if you know the causes, maybe we might be able to fight it better.
Yeah, I think some of the causes are known to every Nigerian, are known to people who are security watchers in the country. If you take the issue of farmer-herder conflict, we knew about it as far back as 1992. Our government was advised, nobody did anything. The banditry, which a lot of us are thinking it just started from Zamfara State. We knew about it like 10 years ago when the cattle rustling was at its peak. Nigerian professors, authors, and lecturers have written so much about it. The Nigerian state didn't do anything about it. The growing poverty in the northeast, which led to the rise of Boko Haram and people like Mohammed Yusuf, we knew about it like 15 years ago. We did nothing. We left the place as an ungoverned space. So you find out that most of the problems we have are the security-driven problems. We are human elements which the Nigerian state never dealt with. Now the issue of the kidnapping. We saw it coming. We didn't do anything. So to deploy technology is good, but we need to first deal with ourselves. We need to first organize ourselves. The Nigerian state has a problem. I can feel the heart of the Mr. President, but I cannot see his action. It's not about reading what you want to do. Since 4 years, we saw all these things. I was thinking by now, we should have had an audit of what we are expected to do. By now, we should have had a national security summit that brings about, you know, a concrete action, about an action plan. By now, Nigerian police should have been up to 1 million. By now, Nigerian army, the Navy, should have been up to 1 million, you know. But we left all these things when it becomes too late. So technology is good, but we need to deal with ourselves. I heard the president talk about community policing. It was presented to the National Assembly. I was wondering why the 8th Assembly never passed it. These are the things we keep waiting until when things become very difficult for us to deal with it. Like what former Senator Shehu Sani talked about, ECOWAS protocol. These are issues as another state in West Africa. We should be talking about, you know, the ECOWAS protocol. How does this affect the security situation in Nigeria? You know, we find
Mr.
out that
Nwokolo,
we have become
let me quickly ask you, because I know your organization next year has done a research, and you have your strong base in the northeastern region of the country. And today, there's been a back and forth about a Wall Street Journal reporter that came up that Nigerian soldiers have been secretly buried at night in secret cemeteries in the northeastern region of the country. The Nigerian military had come out to say that is not true. From your observation in that region of the country, what is happening?
Joe, let me say one thing. The report from Washington Post, I will not deny it, but I will not support it. I will not deny it because it's a credible, it's a credible news, it's a credible journal. So it may have sources that most Nigerians may not have. Why wouldn't I now say I'm going to support it? I won't support it because maybe because of national interest, because of national security, I will not support it. But it gives us cause to worry. It gives us cause to reflect about what is happening.
But is it possible, Mr. Nwokolo, is it possible that the military will secretly bury his own person? Those that have fought for the country, and maybe falling in that process, for them to have been secretly, is it part of their process? Is it not alien to what they do?
Now, I will answer it by giving you an example. While I was doing my PhD at the University of Birmingham, I knew in the UK, each time there's a fallen soldier, it will be announced, people will line up to honor them. How come the Nigerian army don't disclose deaths? Death has become a statistic in this country, a hidden statistic that people don't know about. I was thinking, if there are casualties, military casualties, people should line up on the street and honor them. With that, if they're buried, no one will come to say they were buried secretly. Why I'm saying that I will not say that is right or wrong is because we don't know what is happening. Everything is treated in secrecy. So with that, someone could claim anything someone wants to claim.
All right.
But if there are such things and the army is open and now say, we lost 20 soldiers and they will be buried on Tuesday, you know, relations of those people and well-willing Nigerians will come out and honor them.
Okay,
These are people fighting for us.
Let's get our closing thoughts from Mr. Onyekwelu. Mr. Onyekwelu, the move that you've given a thumbs up to the federal government about the use of technology and some of the fears, you had raised these on the program before about our borders, porous borders. There are hundreds of thousands of them out there. What steps should be taken this time around and urgently with all of these ideas that the federal government is having for us to ensure that we don't know where some of these crimes will come up tomorrow, so that we are preventing instead of chasing after this crime after they've happened?
No, exactly. I think we always call it the 3Ds. We need to learn how to prevent, how to protect, and how to prosecute. At the end of the day, the idea of Mr. President is fantastic to bring technology to the fighting of crime in Nigeria. But two things will come into place here quickly. Number one, the judicial system needs to be up to date in the sense that when a police officer puts his life in action or an army officer puts his life in action on the line to arrest criminals, we need to see those criminals named and prosecuted. And if they are released, we know that they are released. If they are prosecuted, we should know that they are prosecuted. So the judicial system needs to be on top of their job, because it kills the morale of a soldier or a police officer that you arrest criminals and you don't know what happened to them. Secondly, our borders, we can still use the same technology to protect our borders. What's the status of our borders? It's up to the status of Russian borders or American borders, but it's all protected. So tech can still do it. I'll give an example. If you come to my state in Anambra State, for example, from Oka on the old road to Onitsha, it's all well lit. So basically, you can mount cameras from Oka on the old road to Onitsha and any crime on that road, because don't forget, a kidnap has to use your road to run away with the person they kidnapped. We can capture that car. So let's learn how to put street lights so when these cameras work, but don't forget, some of them can work with lights or without lights. Okay. But all in way, it's a good idea for the president.
I must sincerely thank my very knowledgeable experts and panel tonight on the program, Mr. Vince Oyekwelu, with his experience in the British police. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And Mr. Undu Nwokolo, a researcher in the northeastern region of the country and a security and conflict expert. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on today. Well, the eyes have it, and I must always say that, look, whatever you do, be on the side of the people, the popular side. That's our show for tonight, everyone. The proceeding is over. I'm sure Akimale. Bye-bye.